we had some friends that came in. So rather than bringing them out individually, we're going to bring them out together. She's like, you trying to get out of here. Give it up for Darren Carter and Frazer Smith. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you. All right. They're looking at us like, is this Fritz Coleman and the guy from the Operation game? What's going on here? Darren, how are you? We've never done this shit before. We're going to fuck it up, I'm sure. What's been happening, man?
You ever make that pillow wall between the two of you where you start stacking up pillows? Yeah. I'm going to build a pillow wall, make my wife pay for it.
You know, it's been hot, Darren. How hot? I was sweating like Matt Lauer at HR. It's hot. Sweating like Kevin Spacey at a Boy Scout Jamboree. It's going to get worse, guys. I was sweating like Harvey Weinstein. That's it. He's a fat fuck. Come on, guys. Sweating like Caitlyn Jenner watching Nip Tuck. Pretty hot, guys. Sweating like a Kardashian taking the SATs. Yeah. Sweating like Donald Trump on Telemundo.
Boy, I live in Burbank. It was so hot, I turned on the air conditioner.
Okay, good one. It was hot in my neighborhood, too. I was in Van Nuys. People were cooking meth on the sidewalk. Yeah. Hey, you know, did you see this big summit meeting with Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un? You know, of course, they met in Singapore. They were looking for a place where they both felt comfortable, so I'm surprised they didn't meet at Supercuts.
All the sexy ladies, all the sexy ladies. All the sexy ladies, let me hear you say it. Do the ladies run this month? We don't need no water, let the...
How do I follow that shit? Boy, you got to think about decaf.
Throw my tape on, then I'll watch you 3 seconds later. I got you shaking your head, dancing is dead. The beat kicks, the rhyme's hitting like a home run, slamming like a slam dunk. You ride the wave, the James Brown pay funk. It happened to James like it happened to me. Ooh. How do you think it feels to see another MC get paid? Using my rap style. Well, I'm playing the background. Meanwhile, I can't remember.
That was awesome. I want to honk the horn. That was beautiful.
I used to love Kool Moe Dee.
Dude, that was great. That was great. You know what? I love
People are riding me like a pony. I'm no phony. I'm the only real Macaroni. Playing the mic like it's supposed to be played. You jocks, y'all should have stayed out of the business. What is this, amateur night at the Apollo? Get off the stage. I'm enraged. I feel like a lion trapped inside of a cage. I'm the real king. Rep is the jungle. I never understood how could one go to a party, watch me, turn around and jock me, become a rapper, and then try to rock me, screaming like a demon. I'm scheming and jeeming. That's as far as I get, bro.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to The Pocket Party.
And we're back, episode 13 of The Pocket Party. I want to thank you guys for listening to the Pocket Party podcast. I love it. If you want to send me a voicemail or submit like a letter or something, send it to pocketpartypodcast@gmail.com. Once again, pocketpartypodcast@gmail.com. And I want to thank everybody who's left an iTunes comment, a 5-star rating. That really helps. It helps boost this podcast, gets it out there. Big shout out right now to Fast and Furious George, the Miguel Romero, Tommy Boy Live, Jermainer, Rems, Mike Bagak. Mike Bagak, not only does he leave iTunes comments, he leaves comments on YouTube. Thank you very much, Mike Begek. You're the best. Shout out to Lee Meyerhofer, Francis Cronin, Lonnie Pelly, Raymond Morgan, Justin Turek. Now, here's what I want to start by saying this week, guys. I ran into a guy the other day at a restaurant, and he looked familiar to me, and I was like, where do I know this guy from? And he's like, yeah, I used to see you at the comedy clubs, and I haven't done it in about a year. And, hey, he goes, how do you think I could get in with the Laugh Factory? And I was like, he goes, somebody gave me the booker's number. Should I just call him up and ask? I go, you know what I would do, buddy? I said, listen, that guy probably gets inundated, the booker, who is, by the way, Jay Davis. Shout out to Jay Davis. I said, if I were you, I would go at the end of, this goes out to any comedians. You want to get in with a club? Go, go after the show when Jay's not that busy, after the show, and maybe ask him, what's the path to look at new talent? Is there a showcase night or another satellite club we can do a set at? And then I told the guy, I go, why don't you do this? Why don't you I go, this is great. Copy and paste a few clips into an email, introduce yourself, and then say, kind of email you something. And that way you can send an email that has 3 short clips, a minute and a half, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. But if they see a variety, then the comedy talent booker will see oh, this guy's good. I did that for a friend of mine named Peter Marr. Peter Marr, big shout out to Peter Marr. And, we got booked in the Midwest. I go, hey, I want to bring this guy with me. His name is Peter Marr. And Peter did it right away. He sent me a nice letter for me to forward to the booker with the 3 clips. And he got booked. And so I asked the guy, and I go, and he goes, and the kid in his 30s, he goes, my last clips are 5 years old. And I'm like, oh, shit. I go, well, and he goes, I don't really tweet. I just started Instagram last week. And at this point, I'm thinking, dude, you got to start. And this is not a slam against that guy, because if I see him again, I want to help people. But I want to help people that want to help themselves, because it's hard. Not only is it hard to get work, because let's say he gets in with the Laugh Factory. Now what? You still don't have any social media following. How can people be a fan of you and your work if there's nothing to see, If, you know what I mean? Like Van Halen. Why are people a fan of Van Halen? Because there's many, many albums. Why are people a fan of Bruce Springsteen? Because there's so many live concerts online. There's so many albums. There's things to be a fan of. I have 4 comedy albums, by the way. I will plug myself right now. Seriously, guys, if you want to support this podcast, support my family and I, just buy one, burn it, send them to your friends. They're hilarious. I swear to you, you'll like them. My first one is called Shady Side. That came out in 2000. You'll hear a younger Darren Carter. Before I was a party starter, my voice is very high. It's hilarious. It's so funny. It came out in 2000, Shady Side. And then I didn't even think about doing albums again until 2010. And I was like, oh, wow. Because technology caught up. And then SiriusXM started playing albums. And, it's just great. So I got Shady Side. That Ginger's Crazy. Very clever title, if I do say so myself. Because, I was a redheaded ginger. And and it's That Ginger's Crazy. It was kind of a takeoff on one of Richard Pryor's albums. The next album is called Stay at Home Stripper, because I kept hearing that phrase, stay at home dad. And then the newest album is called The Party Continues. And, I sometimes look back at this journey that I'm in, and it's crazy. I was telling one of the boxers today at the boxing gym, we were talking about starting out. And I said, one of my first gigs starting out, and this is when I was in community college, I knew a guy that was a manager of a Burger King restaurant. And he goes, I have a meeting, an employee meeting on a Saturday morning. He goes, maybe you could do you could be a surprise comedian and liven up the meeting. And I'm like, dude, that sounds great. It's hilarious. The things that we think of that we would do. I went to the farmer's market with him. He met me at 7 a.m. We met at the community college, or maybe it was 6. It was super early. I remember we went to the farmer's market, picked up some produce, and this is in Fresno. And then we drove down to, I want to say Kingsburg or someplace down there, one of those small towns. And get this. He had me hide from the employees. He had me hide in the walk-in refrigerator. Thank God it wasn't the freezer part, but it was the walk-in where the refrigerator. And I was in there, I want to say for like 20, 25 minutes. And he goes, I'm going to meet with them, do a little meeting. He goes, then I'm going to open up the door and you're going to jump out. And I everything after that is just a blur. I remember being really cold in there, being very nervous. And I pop out of the refrigerator and there's about 5 people who had that look on their face like, what the fudge? And that was back when Robin Williams was a huge influence in my comedy. So I was probably talking like a mile a minute and beatboxing and rapping, kind of like I do now, but with way less confidence and just super fast. Like I was on, 10 cups of coffee. And I remember the manager thought it was funny and I thought it was funny and the employees thought it was weird. It was so weird. It was cool though. I remember just popping out like, hey, I'm Kermit the Frog. I'm covered in green. Miss Piggy is fat. That's FAT, but it's my prerogative.
Blows me down. I couldn't be hipper. Serving me timbers. I'm a Chippendale stripper.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But so, man, you have to go for it. Whatever your dream is, whatever your thing is, you got to go for it. Learn from your mistakes and put yourself out there. I read a great quote a while ago. It said, without a deadline, a goal is just a dream. Like, so if there's something you really want to do, give yourself a deadline. Say, I'm going to do it by this particular date. And that way you can work toward that goal. Get most of your ducks in line and then just jump in. Like with this podcast, I knew kind of what I wanted to do. And then I just started. I didn't put it off. And now we're into episode 13 and it's growing. And I want to thank all these people who continue to share the podcast. We just got picked up by Spotify. That's great. For some people who love Spotify, it's so easy for them to listen to podcasts. iTunes is the main thing that really boosts a podcast, gets our visibility out there. But I want to thank Laughable, Spotify, all the different places. Anchor is the main place where I upload the podcast to. And the more you guys share it and comment and like it, it helps the whole. It's just great. I decided I needed a theme song. So my 10-year-old son, who his name's Austin, I love him so much. Me being adopted and having a new, starting my own family. It's amazing to see my own flesh and blood and just it's awesome. I love the kids so much. And so little Austin made a theme song. And then I had the bright idea, hey, does any professional musicians out there or people who do music want to cover it? And right away, Curtis Marsh Music out of Nashville did a country version of the theme song. And I played it, and that's what you've been hearing, Curtis Marsh Music. And then get this, I get a message from the Netherlands, Jim Bryan Music. His name is something else. It's like a lot longer. But on social media, he goes by Jim Bryan. And he's great, man. He sent me what's called a stinger, like a little transition. And he said if I need anything else, he'd send it to me. And he also sent in a theme song. And he emailed everything to pocketpartypodcast@gmail.com. But it's quite a nice email he sent. What does it say here? Yeah, his real name is Jim Bryan Nai Chung Tong. And later decided my artist name to be J and City, JNCT, whatever. But greetings from the Netherlands. Isn't that great? Man, that's awesome. I guess I got a review on iTunes from Australia, but it's on the Australian iTunes. I want to thank them. I want to thank them for doing that. Thank you so much. He sent me a screenshot, and I looked it up. I couldn't find it. But he's like, oh, you're probably logged into the United States iTunes. This is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you get these ideas, and we bring people together. We're a family here, guys. We're the Pocket Party Podcast family. The Pocket Party family. I love it. I'll be in Orlando at the Improv July 26th to the 29th. Orlando Improv, July 26th to the 29th. If you know somebody there or if you live in the area, come out, stop by, say hi, say, hey, I'm a fan of the Pocket Party Podcast, and I will give you something. I'll give you a CD or a sticker or something. We'll figure that out. I want to thank Zimmer Andronigian. I want to thank Jermainer, Rems, Mike Begak, I said that. Tommy Boy Live, man, he oftentimes retweets me, which is great. Thank you for the retweets. All I can say, guys, is, this is a great episode. I'm really happy to have. You're about to hear some great stuff. Frazer Smith is awesome. I got a little surprise coming in real quick. Briefly, my son will be on, just briefly. Love it. We found some VHS tapes that I recorded 21 years ago. Family footage, some old home movies. Went to a trip to Alaska. Did a college up in Alaska. Took my father-in-law, took my sister-in-law, filmed it. Some interviews from around the house a few years later. Some more interviews. My buddy Toogie Jackson. Shout out to Toogie. And I want to encourage you guys to film the people you love. Do some interviews with them. Talk with them. You're going to love this stuff. You're going to look back and be like, we look so skinny. We look so young. You're going to see your voices higher. And you're going to see people you love in those videos. And it's amazing to look and have those. Those are precious. Anyways, those are my thoughts for today. We're going to jump into the podcast. I love you guys that you're listening, and I really appreciate it. Once again, any kind of comment you can leave on YouTube or iTunes helps tremendously. All right. Big shout out to Jim Bryan Music. And if you know anyone or you play music yourself, you want to submit it, pocketpartypodcast@gmail.com. All right? Let's get into it. Let's start that party. Now let's start that party in your ear holes.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. Yeah. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to a pocket party. Pocket party. They're wrong. Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party star.
That's so cool.
Listen to it.
So what'd you think of that?
It was very cool how some guy from the Netherlands sang my song in a rap version. And please correct me if I say this, but I think that was like my version of it.
Yeah.
Which was the original, by the way.
That's cool.
I think that version was in C minor.
Really?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Isn't it? Let me ask you a question. What's it like loving music your whole life? You're 10 years old, and then actually creating your own song, and then having people from around the world cover your songs.
It's very awesome. It's very awesome, and I think it might make our whole entire family lots of moolah.
Well,
yes, I like to call money moolah.
That's hilarious.
I think it sounds awesome.
Well, I don't know about the moolahs coming, but I'm telling you right now, it feels great to connect with people from around the world, right? It's fun.
Yes.
We're creating stuff. People are covering it, sending it back. We're promoting them. They're promoting us. It's amazing.
Yes.
I love it.
It's very amazing.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was on Cloud 9 on Friday, and you were doing somersaults when you found out people were going to do covers of your songs.
Somersaults?
Yeah, remember little flips rolling around on the ground?
I don't think I'm able to do a somersault, by the way.
What were those things you were doing? They look like somersaults.
What?
They look like somersaults. When you were rolling around on the ground, you're like, oh my gosh, someone's going to do a cover of my song. Yippee. Remember you're going nuts? You remember that?
All right, yes. I was doing some Fortnite dances.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Yep. I'll give a huge shout out to all the Fortnite fans who are listening to this.
Oh, yeah. And you like this one too, huh? This is another one from Jim Bryan.
Yep, that makes me do the Orange Justice dance when I do that.
Wow. And what
I hear it.
What do you do to the Curtis Marsh's version?
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So
If you want to listen to a podcast for free, listen to the Pocket Party. Dab.
Did you just say dab?
Yep. Whenever I dab Fortnite fans and Dad,
Yeah.
I usually just say the word out loud.
Dab.
And what do I think of it
Yeah.
when I listen to it?
Yeah.
I just think of it like, hey, that sounds That sounds way too similar to the Cars for Kids theme. For all of you who
Oh boy.
aren't annoyed to the Cars for Kids theme, check it out and make some sort of comparison video if you have some sort of video making social media account.
Okay, that was a little too inside. But so what Austin loves, he loves that 1877 Cars for Kid, right? How's that go again? By the way, I hate this song. We come on, we pay for music lessons so this guy can learn Beethoven and Mozart, and he comes home and he starts doing this song.
Boom, 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 boom. 1877 Cars for Kids. KAR, his Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Hey, 1877 Cars for Kids.
Okay, we don't want to lose listeners. We get the idea. We get the idea.
Donate
We get the
your
idea.
car
We get the idea.
Dab.
Dab. Okay. We want to erase that from you guys' mind. Here's that song again by Jim Bryan Music.
We all know he's the party starter.
So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, listen to a Pocket Party. Pocket Party.
Hey, you know what? I realized I kind of painted myself in a corner because I say if you want to listen to a podcast for free, like that means I can never charge for this podcast.
Really?
Yeah, because the theme song says if you want to listen to a podcast for free.
Well, I just needed something to rhyme with Pocket Party.
Oh.
Okay, maybe for anyone who's a fan of those everything wrong with videos, you should probably do a video called Everything Wrong with the Pocket Party theme.
Oh my gosh. No, why are you setting yourself up for criticism? It's bad. And you got to hold the mic up.
No,
right,
my version.
Oh, your version. Oh, your version. Okay. Because everyone else's version was amazing.
And I think
Yeah. Your version's amazing too. You created all
and
this
I think
stuff.
the only sin that they will give is that the price. I think that's the only sin they would give.
Oh, about that's free?
Yeah. Because we all don't know.
Here we go.
how
Here's
much-
your version.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. Me, I know that he's the party starter. So if you wanna
Podcast for free.
Listen to our Pocket Party. Pocket Party.
Oh yeah, baby. Let's start that party in the ear holes.
That's version 2 of the
Oh,
Pocket
yeah.
Party theme.
Oh wait.
My
Oh, here's the original. I
version.
found the original. Here's the original. Here's the original. Hold on.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know that he's a party starter. So if you wanna listen to a podcast for free, listen to our Pocket Party. Pocket Party.
Nice.
Yes, those are from the Sam Tripoli episode
Yes.
slash Gilbert Esquivel episode and the Dean Lara episode.
That's right. Oh, Dean Larrett. Man, that was
Dean
a great.
Parrott.
Dean Parrott. You
Yeah.
love doing parodies of people's names.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
I made a huge list of all the Pocket Party guests and if they were parodies.
Really? What else you got? I'm scared to ask. What else you got?
Well, whatever you'd like to socialize about.
Flip Schultz? Did you make it? No, don't. We don't want to hear these. Okay, we don't want to hear your versions of people's names. That's messed up. But anyways, hey Austin, I want to thank you for being a guest, and we're going to jump into this podcast. Guess who's on today's episode?
Who?
Frazer Smith.
Yes, and it'll be a second time. Like it's my second time on the Pocket Party, by the way.
Yep.
But him actually, he is very funny. He's like way too funny. You'll just crack up to the ground.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's a comedian who's been doing it since the 70s. He was a big radio guy. He moved to Los Angeles after being in Detroit. Huge morning radio guy, and he's out at the clubs all the time. I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely he's not in his 20s, and he's out there, and he is out there every night performing, jamming, doing comedy 6 nights a week, almost 7 nights a week. I see him at multiple clubs, and we're gonna. What are you doing right now, buddy? I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me ask you something. How is How's your summer going so far? How's your summer, buddy? What are you looking up? Don't be Googling people's age. Are you looking up Frazer's age?
Okay,
No. We don't want to say that on the air. Well,
Never mind.
All right. I mean, it's on the Wikipedia. My son, see, that's how smart my kid is. He's like, I'll just Google it. I get it. We don't want to say people's ages. But if you guys want to, it's out there. All right.
Okay.
anyways.
Anyways.
Yeah, anyways. So let me ask you this before we jump onto the podcast. I'm so excited to have Frazer on. How's your summer going so far?
It's going really good. Like, the last 2 times I was near Fresno at our family's farm.
Yeah.
I did some archery, and this week, guess what?
What?
Pocket Party fans, this week was my very first time aiming for the target area.
Although I archery, you're doing bow and arrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although I did not aim for the gold part area, nor the
bullseye.
The bullseye, yes.
That's cool. The bullseye. And before we go, do you want to tell us anything? Or what are you doing to stay fit? You told me you did something today, and I was blown away by it.
Yesterday, I did for 30 days, Pocket Party fans. I'm going to do the 200 push-up challenge.
Really?
For 30 days.
Do you take a day off?
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I did 200 push-ups. Yesterday, I didn't do any push-ups. So today, Pocket Party fans and Dad, I filled in for yesterday and did the daily one for today. And I did 400 push-ups today and I have done 400 sit-ups.
You already did 400 sit-ups? Not yet. Oh, okay. By the time this airs, he'll have done it, is what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Yep. I've actually done 20 so far.
Well, that's cool.
So I take a break when I pass 20, then 40, then 60, then 80.
That's great. And who taught you to have this healthy lifestyle? Fishing for compliments?
To be honest with you, it was the doctor, my doctor.
Oh, damn it. I thought you were going to say mom and dad. Oh.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
My mom and my dad also inspired me too.
That's right.
To get in shape and grow my 8-pack.
8-pack? I can't even get a
although
6-pack.
Although I'm 10 3/4, that would probably be
That's right.
Very.
What about me?
Do
I have my 6-pack yet?
No, but technically you have a 2-pack. That's for
good.
sure.
Technically, okay.
Actually, it's sort of like a 2.5-pack because you have half of a 4-pack.
Nice. I remember one time you go back, like before I used to work out so hard. Do you remember what you said?
Yeah. Yeah, you have a 0-pack is what I said when I was 8 years old or something.
That was amazing. I was like, yep, I think I must put that in my act. But anyways, well, buddy, it was great having you on, and let's jump into the podcast. Are you excited?
Yes. Now let's jump into the funny Frazer Smith.
Dab.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter.
They're already listening. They're already listening. All right, guys.
Pocket Party, sorry.
Bye. There he is. Frazer. There he is.
Hey, D. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy?
Well, everything's good. How are you? It's nice and cool here in your car studio.
That's right, the mobile studio.
I like it, Ed.
That is wild.
Crazy.
Can I just tell you, real quick, shout out to the Thai Room in Burbank. If you guys are ever in Burbank, 821 North Hollywood Way, tell them you want the Darren Carter Friend Special and get that delicious Thai food at a discount.
That is the best Thai food in town.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so good, and they're so nice, and it's like the best.
I love them. You know, it was a short walk over here from the Evergreen Retirement Residence where I live. It's only about 20 feet.
People are going to start believing that.
Well, they should. I have a stake in that.
Yeah.
Investments.
We're sitting once again in my car here in the Bob's Big Boy.
The spacious Darren Carter Studios, mobile studios.
That's right. In the Bob's Big Boy parking lot. And
yeah.
It was hilarious because I was doing a little test before you got here, and I was making sure everything was recording, and had the microphone up to my mouth, and I'm sitting here with the engine running, and it's I don't know, it's like over 105 degrees out there, And
which is nothing, really.
it's really nothing.
For me.
Because it was 115. It was 115 last week.
Yeah, so this is a cold snap.
We're down to 105.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious. People are walking by just looking at me. Because, we're in Burbank, and there's like all these studios. And
I was sweating like the Bob's Big Boy statue at the gym. That guy needs some ab work.
Yeah, even the statue was sweating.
Yeah, it was. That's all the time, though. It doesn't have to be hot for that guy to sweat.
Nobody even, it's funny, they don't even bat an eye twice. They see a guy in his car by himself with earphones on and a microphone. They're just like, whatever.
It's nothing.
Yeah, just
these days.
They're like, that's what show business
Everyone's
is.
doing a podcast. I get to the bank the other day. I'm going through the drive-through, and the teller was doing a podcast on the little thing, the speaker thing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like, would you like to make a deposit?
And he goes, "Oh, hold it. I've got to finish this podcast." So I had to sit there for half an hour while he wrapped things up.
Well, that's one way to get listeners.
Well, I guess.
Can you imagine if we did this like
drive-through podcasting? I like it.
How suspicious would we look if we were doing this very same thing in like New Jersey or New York?
They'd be like, "What are those guys up to? It's got to be
They're wearing
the
a wire.
FBI. He's wired."
Yeah, because we're wired for a podcast, the Pocket Party.
That could get you in trouble in Jersey.
I just lock my doors.
You should, because in Burbank you never know.
All that mob talk.
It's a crazy town.
It is a crazy town. Man, what are you doing to beat the heat?
Well,
you're like not sitting in your hot car.
Yeah, I'm in your car. That's basically it.
Does this work?
Good air conditioning.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. This car, you know what? It's funny because you get nervous like about the AC. Because when the car is when it's brand new, because I got a rental last week, and man, that air blasts you. It's cold. Actually,
isn't that great? When you get into a car that really has great air,
Yeah.
then you're jealous about your car.
Yeah.
You're like, what happened to my car?
I know. Because it's like.
Started out good.
It started out good. My air's still good. In fact, I have it on, because I could crank it up, but it's like, but then we get all that wind noise.
Let's get some Freon going.
It feels good.
But that sounds good. It sounds like we're in a windy area. Doesn't it? It's like a sound effect.
I know. It's a sound effect, guys.
I like it. There you go.
Hold on. In Alaska. Oh, it's so cool.
Darren, this wind is crazy.
Oh, man. I hope the listeners can find us on the dial.
You could do your kite bit.
The kite bit. I think I'm going to bring it back.
Remember, bring back that's a good bit.
Oh, that was a real story, too.
What was the story on that?
Well, we went, was back when my son was, I want to say maybe like 5 or 6. I'm not sure. Yeah, 5 or 6. And, he wanted to fly a kite, but it wasn't a very windy day. And so we got like
So you turned on the air conditioning.
Yeah, I know. So I think we grabbed a Spider-Man kite. I think we got, because I was like, I want to fly a kite. I think it was a Spider-Man kite. We took him to the park. It wasn't that windy. And it was funny. My wife was busting my balls. She was like, "Why did you have to pick a superhero that doesn't fly, Austin? Like, couldn't you got Superman or somebody?" And I remember there's this guy who kind of came out from underneath the bush. He kind of looked like a retired cholo or something. Like he used to be a cholo, but not anymore. I don't know what his deal was.
Can he retire as a cholo?
Yeah, I don't know. What are the benefits in that? I don't know. But he kept asking me questions like
lowered cars.
Yeah,
You get a
yeah. Instead of a gold watch after 25 years.
You get a lowered rascal scooter.
Yeah. I'm out the game, bro, but I got the lowered rascal scooter.
With hydraulics, bro.
Wait, that was the General Lee theme song from Dukes of Hazzard. No, the retired cholo theme song would be Low Rascal.
Low Rascal. There's your next video.
Yeah, a low rascal. If there's
Man,
if there's any
perfect for a
retired
video.
cholos out there that want to be in the music video. By the way, the podcast party. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of my own show.
You ought to have a podcast party for all your podcasting fans.
That'd be cool. That'd be really
Why not,
cool,
man? Have it at the Thai restaurant.
We should. You know what? I'm going to do that.
It's a good idea, bro.
Should I build it up and let there be like lots and lots of people, or should I just say, hey, let's just get
build it. Let it build.
Core of 20.
Let's get the gang over there, the hardcore listeners.
Because the insecure part of me is like, what if it's just me and you and like no listeners?
We still have a good party.
That's right. That's
right? We'd have some
That's
Thai
right.
food. We'd be rolling.
Yeah. You know what? That's what we'll do.
Yeah, and then build it up. Do it every couple of months, and then slowly but surely, and people will tell their friends, "Hey, man, we had a good time at Darren's party." You're the party starter.
Dude, I like that.
Come on, bro. And then we get it going.
This is July.
And it helps the restaurant, too, because they get the word out.
Let's do it in October. October's a good date,
Probably
right?
better than,
Or should I wait till, we don't want it too hot.
I would say, September, October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing just started, so I'm not like, I'm nervous that nobody, you know what? You're right. It'll be, we'll do it.
It doesn't matter. You build it.
You build it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they will show up.
Gosh, I like the way you think.
Oh, come on. We got to be positive these days.
And what day of the week would I do it? And would I do it at...
Well, Depends.
People
I mean,
might work, and
people are working, but you have it kind of early. I would have it like
kind of early.
Well, 7:30 on like a
That's a good
Tuesday
idea.
or something like
now,
that.
what if I get there? This could be embarrassing, and the place is already like sold out with other people that don't even.
Well,
my
you check with the
podcast.
restaurant.
That's true.
You know, you set it up with them, and they'll look at it as a PR thing.
Yes.
And you go, look, I'm going to do my podcast at your restaurant. You know, you're my sponsor, and we'll get some people coming in. And even if we don't get a big turnout the first time, we'll build it.
Yes.
And we'll start getting the word out. These people will have a good time. They'll enjoy the food. Then they'll tell their friends, and they'll start coming here on a regular
That'd
basis
be dope.
anyway.
Imagine
right?
if
It helps them, helps you. Win-win.
Win-win
is what we're looking at.
Can you imagine? Because I know this.
That's the kind of positive thinking we have at the Evergreen Retirement Residence.
We do.
Yeah.
Hey, by
it's
the
all
way,
the ginkgo we have to take. It keeps us sharp.
Ginkgo biloba is a Rocky Balboa. It's my brother Ginkgo.
That's the next guy who's fighting in Rocky 8.
Ginkgo
Balboa.
Ginkgo biloba.
He can't remember the ring is, so he has to take a lot of ginkgo.
Ding ding.
It's over there. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I have a. There's a theme song. My son wrote. It's great. He's 10 years old. He played the Pocket Party theme song, and I played it on a couple of episodes. And I thought, let's have a sort of a contest. Like, if you're a musician, if you know a musician, you know, do a cover of it, and also send in an original, and I'll play them both. And it's so cool. I already have a guy. I played it on the Buddy McGirt episode, a boxing star.
So impressed that you had Buddy on the show. I'm a boxing fan like you, and he was a great fighter, world champion.
He's so great.
Yeah, two-time I think.
Two-time world champion. Yeah. He won 28. He won 28.
That was amazing.
Well, he fought 80. He had 80 bouts. He had fought. Guys, you got to listen to that podcast. If you haven't listened, go back and listen to the Buddy McGirt episode.
And didn't he also train some world champions?
Yes,
too?
and then he went on to training and won an award. I want to say in 2003.
Was it Ward that he was training?
You would probably know that better.
Somebody,
I don't remember the names, but
yeah, I think it was Ward.
So one starts with a G.
A great fighter.
One starts with a G, like a gay or something Gotti.
Gotti, was it Gotti?
I think so.
Oh, was it Gotti? Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Arturo Gotti.
Arturo Gotti,
legendary fighter. That's what I thought. He fought Ward. Those were classic
Okay.
fights. Go check those on YouTube.
I gotta
Some
watch
of the best
those.
fights ever.
He fought 20. Get this. His first fight when he was an amateur was a draw. His first fight when he was a pro was a draw. And then he went on to win. Buddy McGirt went on to win 28 in a row. I'm looking at that column on. You can go on this thing called Box Rec.
Right.
And it was just like green after green, win. I honestly, I'm not even joking. I started losing count, and I got up to 28. Then he lost. Then he.
By the way, that was my nickname in high school, Box Rack. Anyway,
Box Rec.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Hey, they called me Speed Bag. You don't want to know why, ladies.
You don't know.
But he 28 in a win. Can you imagine 28 in a row wins, and then lost, and then 20, and I'm sorry, then 10 wins, then lost, and then after that he went on to 21 more wins, and then he just kept. He was
an amazing fighter, and great trainer too, because Arturo Gotti, one of the best ever.
so funny. He told me that people kind of turned his back on him a little bit after he retired from boxing, and then when he was trying to call in favors or just little things, they wouldn't answer his phone. Blah blah blah. You know how it's like show business.
I think that's true in a lot of things, right?
And then guess what? Then you got that trainer of the. Then all of a sudden
then he's a
everyone's
big
reaching out
trainer,
to
and now
him,
they all want to call him again.
Isn't that
Yeah,
wild?
that's
It's like,
life.
Isn't
that wrong?
Did you go through that too with radio?
Oh yeah,
You
man.
Big radio
People
guy.
still,
in LA,
I
and-
won't even return my own calls. No, people. Yeah, I did have that happen. Yeah, but at first it shocks you, and then you just kind of move on, and then
You move
everything
on.
comes back around.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra talked about that.
Yeah, that's life. I mean, even
Yeah.
having a Frank.
Yeah.
He had a down period.
Yeah.
You saw The Godfather.
I did.
But he, mine fortunately didn't involve a horse in a bed.
What do you? So I asked you what you're doing to beat the heat. It's summertime. Where I like the idea of that of having people come out. I like involving people, and it's so cool. When you're by yourself as a comedian, you're just on stage as doing a set, but you realize like teamwork does make your dream work.
That's what we found out when you and I had to do a show together the other night at the Comedy and Magic, where we both went on stage at the same time. What'd you think about that?
Dude, let me tell you something. I was out of my comfort zone, but it was actually very thrilling. You
The
guys,
audience loved it.
They loved
I think
it.
you and I were both like,
Yeah, backstage.
And by the way, I'm a big fan of yours, and you're awesome, man. But it's just our styles are so different. I was kind of like, what do I do after Darren is beatboxing for 5 minutes.
Dude, it was hilarious.
But I guess the audience thought it was hilarious.
Okay, you know. Sometimes when you have a. By the way, guys, what we're
You
talking
got
about.
to teach me how to beatbox because then I could have like been your backup beatbox guy.
You know what? Beatboxing is good. It's like playing the saw, or it's.
I love it. I mean, I love it, and you get the sound like the Fat Boys used to have. Yeah, I used to love the Fat Boys. That was my era of hip hop.
Me too. I like it. Back when you could understand the words, it was simple
love that
rhymes.
era,
It was
man.
like, oh, didn't you do rap? You used to do.
I was Cool Mo D all the way.
Can you give us a little bit of that?
Oh gosh,
remember
I
how it
don't know
went?
if I remember. Throw my tape on, then I'll watch you. 3 seconds later, I got you shaking your head, dancing is dead. The beat kicks, the rhyme's hitting like a home run, slamming like a slam dunk. You ride the wave, the James Brown pay funk. It happened to James like it happened to me.
Ooh.
How do you think it feels to see another MC get paid? Using my rap style. Well, I'm playing the background. Meanwhile, I can't remember.
That was awesome. I want to honk the horn. That was beautiful.
I used to love Cool Mo D.
Dude, that was great. That was great. You know what? I love
People are riding me like a pony. I'm no phony. I'm the only real Macaroni. Playing the mic like it's supposed to be played. New jocks, y'all should have stayed out of the business. What is this, amateur night at the Apollo? Get off the stage. I'm enraged. I feel like a lion trapped inside of a cage. I'm the real king. Rep is the jungle. I never understood how could one go to a party, watch me, turn around and jock me, become a rapper, and then try to rock me, screaming like a demon. I'm scheming and jeeming. That's as far as I get, bro.
Well, that was good.
I ran out of gas. I don't know.
Dude, maybe you could be doing a cover of the Pocket Party theme song.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll work
Yeah.
on that. We'll come back.
Yeah.
So they have this anniversary show. That was amazing, by the way.
Okay.
Frazer Smith. Available for studio time if you need a rapper in your group.
I'm coming back like Return of the Jedi. Sucker MCs in the place I said I could only rock rhymes, only rock crimes, never rock records. How you like me now?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry about that,
What
folks.
if you just
That's the kind of stuff we do at our talent night at the Evergreen Retirement Residence. Yeah. Try breakdancing with a walker.
I know.
You break something, all right.
Yeah, you're like Myrtle, relax over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Comedy Magic Club, they had a big
So
anniversary
we
show.
had the thing, and Richie, who's just a great guy. It's a great club. Probably one of the best clubs in the country. It's got to be.
So good.
And they always treat you great. And
They've been in business for what, 40 years?
40 years. It's their 40th
Yeah.
anniversary, and they do a thing in July where they have 20 comedians come on
Yeah.
at a night on each show, and they do 5 minutes, and then they have a bell that rings at the end of the 5, and it's fun. And but we were late getting down there, and so they said, well, you and Darren have to go on at the same time because we've got to wrap this thing up. So you and I both went on there, and it was really
yeah, there was 20 comedians on before us.
Really
I wasn't even booked on there, but like I emailed him. I go, hey, I'd like to
I
swing
wasn't
by.
either.
Oh, that's
I just
good.
swung by,
Yeah.
and that's why that happened.
Yeah.
But Richie wanted to do it. He was all excited, and all the comics loved it, and the audience loved it. It was a great way to wrap up the show. But I didn't feel good about it because I couldn't remember my jokes out of sequence.
Dude, I had that same problem. There was 20 comics. We went on at the end. It was hilarious because they were like, "Hey, why don't you guys do like a one-liner thing back and forth?" And I was thinking like, I don't really do one-liners. I mean, I have some, but
You got some in there, but
it was look at that photo right there. By the way, guys, if you go to
you know what I felt like? I felt like I was at a rap show and I was the lawyer.
You're wearing a suit, dude. It was great.
But the crowd loved it, but I felt like an idiot. But I don't. I enjoyed working
know
with
what
you.
you're saying.
Don't get me wrong.
No,
I
yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
working,
yeah.
and I'm a big fan of yours. And I was enjoying the whole thing. But I just
I
kept
gotta
thinking,
show
I
you-
can't think of my jokes.
I
because
got that little video. I want to like show you just a simple like a little snippet of it. Not
Oh,
now,
I
but,
can't
like,
watch it. I
you
can't watch it. No, I can't watch it. Because I felt so awkward.
If I took just a little piece, like could I post it?
Yeah, you
Just-
do whatever
okay.
you want with it. Yeah.
Thank you,
Because everybody else seemed to love it. I just
loved it. Let me
it's one
tell
of those things, and then I felt bad later
Yeah.
because I was kind of a Scrooge. When I got off stage, I was like, and the guy tried to give me the tape, and I was like, no, I don't
Dude,
want
I've
it.
done that so many times.
Really?
I've probably done that like 5 times, and I try not to do that. Now I politely take it, and then but
yeah.
no, it was raw emotion because that's how it felt
Yeah.
weird. I was actually sweating.
But I didn't want to seem like I was a jerk,
No,
Oh,
you
I don't
look
want my
fine. You look fine.
tape, and-
But yeah, I mean, you don't want to be phony and be like, "That's my new thing." Okay,
Yeah.
throw me, put me with any comic.
Well, everybody was coming up and congratulating us and patting us on the back, going, "Oh, that was great, man."
It was
And
hilarious.
I'm like, that sucked.
It was weird because it was, and I was so happy. I was like, God, I hope he doesn't think I'm, because the last thing I wanted to do was like like hog the stage.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that didn't bother me. I enjoyed working with you. It had nothing to do with you. That was fun.
It was
more
fun.
my thing. I just couldn't remember my bits.
No, it was
because
let me
I
tell-
use them. You know, I do so many jokes, and I do them kind of in a sequence. And
I do too.
And so if I throw them out of sequence, I can't remember them at all.
That's how I feel like when I have to like MC and I'm like and I start like when I'm if I feel like I'm bombing or the audience isn't with me, I start skipping all around and I go from topic to topic and I'm all out of sorts.
Yeah,
that's a little bit how I felt.
That's how I was too.
My mind was going blank when you were up there. I literally was going blank.
Same when you were doing. I'm going. I got to think of my next joke before he finishes.
Yeah.
You know, and then I go keep beatboxing. I can't think of that next joke.
But then I was like, I don't want to be hugging the thing, but it was hilarious because let me tell the audience when we walked out. So Frazer, if you haven't seen him, you probably have, but if you haven't, you know, he wears a suit. He's a gentleman, and I'm bald, and I walk out there, and his opening line was because it was weird because everyone else was like a comedian or a comic or maybe a magician or it was all stand-ups, and so all of a sudden here's like this duo that comes up. And do you remember your opening line about?
I said, you guys are looking at us like I'm Fritz Coleman, the weather guy, and he's the guy from the operation game.
Dude, and that killed.
Got a big laugh.
And
But then that's when I started forgetting my jokes. So he opened up strong, but then I was like, where am I going?
Killed. And then I was like, everything was, especially was super like is it incongruent? It
was just awkward. But I think that's what they were laughing at. They were laughing
that was funny.
At the accountant-looking guy working with the hip hop guy.
Because I started out with married. Hey, I'm married, and I did like a couple of married jokes. My wife is even-tempered. She's always mad.
Which is a funny joke.
Boom. My next joke, I was like, when you're in bed, you guys ever make that pillow wall? You build that pillow wall between the two of you. I'm gonna build a pillow wall and make my wife pay for it.
But see, good improv is listening, right? So I should have been listening to you and having a comment after that.
You kind of did, though.
I would try to, but mostly what I was doing was trying to think of my next joke, so I couldn't really listen.
Hilarious.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Because I was doing the same thing. And that's what made it funny. When I looked at the tape, it looked hilarious. It was like we were in two different worlds because there was one.
We needed a split screen. That's what we needed.
There was some points where we were connected, but there were some points it was hilarious. But I thought that was funny.
That was the funny part to the audience.
Yeah, that was
because I looked like I was so confused.
No. You would be like, do you remember some of you're like, you go, boy, it's hot, and then I go, it's hot, isn't it, Frazer? And then you were like,
and I did all my hot jokes.
Do you remember a couple of them?
Oh,
because I'll show the audience what I did.
I think I did. I was like sweating like the Kardashians taking the SATs.
Yeah, you go, I'm sweating like. You didn't do do the Roseanne one. My son loves the Roseanne one.
Sweating like Roseanne on BET.
Or no, Kanye West.
I was sweating like Kanye West at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll take mine to go. So Frazier's doing this whole thing about I'm sweating like this, I'm sweating like that, and it's killing it like it always does. And so that one I purposely wrote this joke to bomb where I go, you hand me the microphone back, and I go, yeah, man, it was so hot in Burbank today. I turned on my AC.
Yeah, that was great because you just played it like a goofy statement.
Like there's no
joke.
punchline.
I know,
but that was weird too because it kind of got an awkward.
It got a laugh. It was weird,
especially because yours was all like 10 great crafted jokes, and then.
But that's what made that one work because it was off, and so everyone laughed.
And then it was funny because I did that whole thing where I do the turn. And I'm like, all the sexy ladies, and here's what he's talking about when I felt like a rapper. I'm like, all the sexy ladies, let me hear you say, and they think I'm going to go, hey, or ow. But it's funny because I go, all the sexy ladies, let me hear you say, and act like I'm really into it. And I'm like, when I say, and then I just hand him the microphone, and that's what looked really awkward because you're like, so anyways.
Yeah, nice. How's the weather? Yeah, I didn't know what to say at that point. But then you gave me one that was weird. You go where you do your thing about I like my women like I like mine, right? Which I love when you do that. So you're always great with that. So I said, well, give me one to say. So you said belt.
Belt.
So I go, you said, I like my women like I like my, and then you handed me the mic and I go, belt. And I hear this woman in the audience go, belt.
Yeah, oh, you did? I didn't even hear that.
Yeah.
And I go, and then the punchline
is.
Did I say the punchline or did you say the punchline?
You did.
Oh, yeah, he goes belt, and then I go, I like my women like I like my.
Belt.
Black and around my waist.
And that got a laugh. But when I said belt, the lady goes, belt. Like I made a stupid comment.
I know that. I didn't even
Lady, it's comedy. Come on.
There was another part because somebody go. I have that crowd yell out stuff, which is always funny because I never know what they're gonna do, and and I go, I like my women like I like my, and then somebody yelled out, banjo. And when they said banjo, I just looked up this fact I was going to talk about on the podcast. It's not even funny. I told the crowd, I go, you know what? This is not a joke, but it's true. I looked up the origin of the banjo, and believe it or not, the banjo was invented in Africa. You would never think that with the whole Deliverance and the, and like the jokes that people say, how do you get the perfect sound out of a banjo? You throw it into a dumpster. I mean, all these backward.
That is actually true too. I looked that up, and that's true.
What's that? That's how you
throw it in a dumpster. Yeah.
When it hits an accordion.
That's an official fact.
So when I go, it's probably that same lady, to tell you the truth. Because when I go, I like my women like I like mine. They go, banjo. And I go, interesting fact. Did you know I go, the banjo was invented in Africa. And then that same lady, she goes, so?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Like I'm saying, like it's racial or something. I'm like, no, I saw it on Black History Month. I thought it was interesting. Like,
yeah, and then you made a comment about a G string. So,
oh yeah. I said I like my women like my banjo. I don't even know if this works or not, but I said with the long neck and a G string.
Well, that's what bugged me about that lady. She was trying to throw us off.
Yeah, that's what it was. You're right. They weren't trying to. They were trying to be combative with this.
Well, not everyone.
Not everyone. Yeah, that's true. She was, and it was.
She was very annoying.
Maybe because we were the last acts, and she's like Popeye, like that's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. This is my only chance to. Heckle.
Well, you know what it is. You're winging it. You're taking a chance that the other comics aren't taking on a show like that. It's not an improv show, so they're there watching comics who have structured acts, which you and I have.
Yeah.
But when we're doing that, it's so hit or miss. And most of the audience rolled with it. They were real cool. But that lady was annoying. And then I just got mad at myself. I just thought but it was good. Ronnie Pearson, who was on the show too, made a comment. He goes, it's good to be outside your comfort zone.
Dude,
right?
it was really cool because we still did good. It's not like like I said, people were laughing backstage. They were laughing on camera. I have the footage. I saw they were laughing. I heard them laughing.
I think it is good to be outside.
But it's so weird.
Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, your comfort zone, right? They always say that's how you grow.
Yeah, unless you're a boxer, you probably don't want to be out
No, that's one thing that.
Or maybe you really do. I don't know.
Well, maybe a little bit,
like sparring or something.
Yeah.
Not the big day of the fight. But
yeah. My comfort zone in boxing is very low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Buddy said something interesting. He said you get all these friends around you when you're a boxer. They all want to be part of your camp, this and that. They want to walk you to the ring, but guess what? They walk you to the ring. They take the 3 steps back, and you got to take the 3 steps up.
Yeah, they don't have to go
alone.
in the ring. That's a big difference.
That was weird when we were on stage. It's weird. If there's any comedians listening, it's a strange feeling to be on stage with another comic and them talking into a microphone, telling jokes, getting laughs, and you're just standing there and like, okay, what do I do next?
Well, the other thing is we only had one mic, and they offered us 2 mics, which we could have taken if we'd wanted, but we didn't. So
if we did it again, which you probably won't, but if we did, would you do it?
I would take 2 mics because then
yeah.
if you think of something, you can say it.
Yeah.
See, what was happening there was if you did think of a line, you couldn't wait. You couldn't say it till the guy was done.
Yeah.
And by then, it didn't make sense.
I know, and I was literally like, there was one point when I was just like, I was like looking at you and laughing, and I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? And I was like, okay, I'll do that one thing. I like my women, but then I would get lost.
You know, it was weird, but we did get through it, and the crowd seemed to love it, except that lady.
The part that made it a little bit weird for me was when I would do a joke, and then there was 1 or 2 that I did that did not get the quite reaction I wanted, and then it was like, ugh, I hope I'm not the unfunny one up here.
Well, that's the other thing you worry about, but I don't think.
But I don't think we were.
I don't think it came off good.
It looked good when I looked at it.
The thing is that the club owners loved it. That's the part I was mad at myself about, was because afterwards I was kind of frumpy. I was like, I didn't like it, And then the club owners were like, well, you don't want to say that in front of a club owner, because especially if he liked it.
They loved it. They lit up like it was Christmas.
I know.
Because it was their idea.
And I was pouring water on their whole thing. I was like, no, it sucked.
Yeah. You know what? Here's what's, I'll next time I talk to them, I'll send them a picture. I'll say I talked to Frazer.
Smooth that over.
I'll smooth it over.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
tell him I sent a text to Richie.
That's good.
And he was real cool. He goes, no, you guys were great. We loved it.
Yeah,
so,
it was great. It was great.
Good.
But you're right. The comfort zone thing.
Yeah.
What other times have you been out of your comfort zone, like with comedy? Do you remember?
Just about every minute of the day, I'm outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Do you find that these days?
Yeah.
I know. I feel like, I think everyone tries to play it safe as much as they can.
Yeah.
But it always, if you read those success books, which I've never actually gotten through, one of
But
them.
the titles are good.
But
That's
they
why we
always
buy
say
them.
the
We always
titles
buy them.
kind of tell you a little bit.
Yeah.
They always say that you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to
Yeah.
try to press the envelope a little and try to, stretch out, because that's how you get better.
Yeah,
No matter what you're doing. And I think it's also, you play with if you're learning golf, you play with someone who's better than you.
Yeah.
Not so much better that you're holding them up, but so that you can maybe learn something, pick up some pointers. And they say that sort of stretches you, and that you're supposed to do that with whatever you're doing. I guess that's true. I always feel like I'm holding somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, this guy probably would be three holes ahead if I wasn't with him, But that's really, I think, one of the ways they say that you get better. You hang with someone who's better than you at whatever it is,
Yeah.
and that forces you to get out of your comfort zone and learn things.
That's true.
I don't know. They say that. We'll see.
You're such a natural radio host. You're like, this is like,
Well, I don't have a car studio though. If I did,
you know what's good
watch
about that?
out.
Because you did what we talked about on stage. You listen, you add, you set the other person to be funny. You bring your own thing to the table. When did you start in radio? When did that happen? Okay.
Well, I thought. Oh, okay. Well, I started in radio in Kalamazoo, Michigan, when I was going to college at Western Michigan, and there was a college station, and I started there, and then I went to a local station in town and worked there. It was called WYYY, which is what they said after they hired me. Why did we hire him? Did I tell that joke on the last show? Anyway,
No.
So I started there. I was like 18. So I've been in radio, 40-some years. I've been in radio a long time.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you when did you realize that you were good at it? Right away, or the first year, or a while?
I don't know if I ever realized I was good.
But you're pretty good at it.
Well, what happens is that you, as you do something over and over again, you feel that you're getting it down. It doesn't happen whether it's stand-up or whatever, like I mentioned, golf or anything like that. I don't think you right away you're great at anything. So you have to, it takes time, and then it sort of sinks in, oh, I'm getting a little better at this. I could probably do this.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it just, but the thing about starting early like that was I got that sense kind of early. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I'd actually had a lot of experience.
When you do, when you live your everyday life and you know that you're going to be on a podcast, does it even cross your mind like, oh, this would be a good topic, or did they just come out naturally for you, or?
I rarely think about anything like that. I just,
what do you think about throughout the day, like stand up and stuff? Like, this would be a good joke.
I hate to tell you. No, I
hate to tell you. That's when it's going to get good. You guys turn those earbuds up.
I got to do something at the retirement residence. No, just like anyone else, you do kind of look for topics. Sometimes I get on a thing. I can't do it all the time because I get bored with it. But sometimes I get into a thing where I listen to the news station. Because then you can pick up topics off of that, especially when you do what I do, which is like
topical stuff.
So you listen on the news thing, and I think that's something that that I pick up topics from.
When I first started stand up, I was like, my comedy antennas were up. Where almost every day I'd be like, that's funny, I should use that. Oh, that's good. And then eventually, as life goes on, I still do it. But I'm not like. Because then you're kind of scattered, where it's like, as opposed to like knowing what you want to talk about, what you want to do, and like if something fits, especially when my wife says something, I already know it's going to be perfect for those those topics where I'm talking family stuff.
Well, I have a weird thing about writing where I just can't write unless I feel like it.
Yeah.
And they say, I remember reading a thing Smokey Robinson said about writing, because he wrote so many songs over the years, and he said, well, a pro can write even when you don't feel like it. A pro's somebody that writes because that's your job.
Yeah.
And that's true for comedy writers as well. I mean, the guys who work for the Tonight Show have to crank out a certain amount of material every day, and they're on the clock, and they're getting paid well for it, and that's their job. I'm not really, I don't think, suited for that kind of a job, because I'm a pretty good joke writer, I think, but I can only write when I really feel the inspiration. And a lot of times during the day, I just don't have that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to. And then there's other times when I can sit down and just crank out a ton of jokes.
Yeah. I write. I like to rewrite stuff like off stage. Like I'm like, okay, let me grab a coffee, sit down, put my earbuds in, and listen to a performance. And it's like I'm sitting in my own audience, and I'll tag the stuff that I've already written. And I'm like, oh, that makes it so much better.
You're good at tagging stuff.
You know?
You've given me a bunch of tags. That's why I've been fortunate to write with you lately, because all your tags work. You're really good at it. I don't know if you noticed that. You're like excellent, because that's not your style. Your style is kind of the fun, free form, making fun of pop culture, doing hip hop stuff. But you're a very good joke writer, and even though that's primarily not your style.
Right. Yeah, it's
something you're good at.
Thank you. It for some reason it just comes real natural, especially with you. Where you're like, hey, I'm working on this thing, and I'm just like, boom, there's the joke.
Well, it's funny because I was at the comedy camp the other day that they do at Laugh Factory, and it's all the kids. And I think it's such a great thing they do. Tiffany Haddish came out of that camp. She's a big star now, and it's kids who come from foster homes. They don't have parents there. They go there, and Jamie, the owner of the Laugh Factory, does it every summer to get the kids, out of their comfort zone and on stage and learning how to talk in front of a public speaking, really. Whether you become a comedian or not, it's good for the kids because they become less intimidated by speaking in public.
Yeah, and it's therapeutic. Things that you thought was only you
find
share
out
with an
other
audience.
people. Yeah,
like, I'm not the only one.
Really a good thing. So I was there the other day watching some of the kids go through that stuff, and one of the kids, mostly they just tell stories about what's happening in their life, and they're just, getting used to being on stage. They don't really have a routine or anything. And this one kid, though, stops and tells a joke in the middle of what he was saying. And all Tiffany was there as one of the counselors, and so was Alonzo Bowden, and so was Reuben Paul, and they were helping coach the kids. And all of them stopped and they go, Frazer Smith, they go, that's like Frazer style. And I told the kid, I go, kid, good job. I love that joke, man. Keep writing jokes.
Yeah.
He stopped and told like a one-liner.
What was the one-liner? I think we worked on something once. Remember that the Asian guy got dragged on the airlines? Remember?
Oh, yeah, what was that joke?
That was a big one.
The airline guy. Oh, I said, the economy's so bad, United Airlines is dragging people onto planes.
Yeah. Yes. Or was it something like it
was right after United dragged that guy off the plane. So our joke was the economy's so bad,
they're dragging
Airlines dragging people on.
Wasn't there one like you had that old joke of I just flew in from Chicago and boy are my arms tired. Didn't we have something like that?
What was my joke that I had recently like that? I had one like that.
I just flew in from United
and boy, is my career over.
Or they dragged me, or I don't know, whatever. But yeah, just stuff like that.
Oh, it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just flew in and boy, did I get dragged. Boy, my arms tired from being dragged off the plane.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. I love stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it comes and goes. So you can't get married to like topical material. That's why I'm like, do this now before it gets old, and
I wonder if you could do that joke anyway, even though it's not particularly topical.
Probably. Yeah, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like anything that's kind of topical, that's like,
Yeah. How would you do that? Yeah. Well, you could still do. I just flew in, but I mean that story was a while ago. Some stories people I find retain for a long stretch of time, and some people not long at all.
You know what you could do though would be kind of cool. You could, I'm sure it's in your notebooks of when you wrote those jokes or when and you could be like, guys, I'm gonna take you back to the old school. We're gonna do best of 2014 or whatever. This is what was killing in 2009, and then have like 4 jokes that were from that particular year or decade.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, right?
Well, I guess you could.
Because you know where those jokes are.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know if I kept any of those jokes. I had a lot of really good. It's a good idea though. Hey, here's some jokes from 1988.
Yes, and then like whatever was happening.
An OJ joke.
Do you have any jokes about Miami Vice or any stuff like that
I don't
back
know.
then?
I didn't save them. I should have saved them.
They're probably on video somewhere or something, right?
Yeah, maybe. But you could do an old joke.
Remember when the Clippers used to be? No, what's the joke you do about? Is it the Clippers?
Yeah.
When they
Well, but the Clipper joke is.
But then they
pretty-
got good though for a while.
Yeah,
right?
so then I had to stop doing it, but now they're bad again, so I can do it.
That's gotta hurt you, right? Like as a comic, like
Well, yeah, you sit there rooting against the team on TV just so you can keep your 3 jokes.
hey, I know exactly. I love. What time's the game start? And you're like, what time can you get
What
here?
time can you get here? You can only do that when they suck.
But when they're winning, they're like, I don't get it.
Why would he do that? Yeah.
Well, these guys have. What do you? I'm learning more about. I'm learning more about sports. But the one sport that I really like is boxing. And but when it comes to like the Lakers, what's going to happen now? They're getting.
Well, they got LeBron. I don't know that that's enough to take them all the way to the title. I think they certainly helps. I mean, he's such a great player, and what a get for them. But he has a supporting cast that is similar to, I think, to the level of talent he was with in Cleveland. He's got some good young players who are going to be good, but they may be a couple years from being good, So it's kind of one of those things where he's got to carry them again.
And how about the Clippers?
Unless they get another. I know they're out there probably looking for another superstar to sign if they can find that.
How will any idea how the Clippers are going to be this coming season?
Oh, well, I talked to Alonzo about that, and he's a season ticket holder, and he's very disappointed in where they're at.
Oh.
Yeah, because they've lost guys. They lost Chris Paul, who's fantastic. And
Part of me would love it if LeBron went to the Lakers and the Clippers still kicked their ass.
Well, that would be cool, but I don't know if that's going to happen. They had some good players a couple years ago, and now Clippers' problem really has been holding on to people. Over the years, they've had a lot of pretty good players leave, and they haven't been able to build that nucleus. They did get better for a while, but they never were able to maintain that for too long.
Yeah. Well, Frazer, anything else you want to say? Okay, so we talked about thinking positive. Dude, let me tell you, I watched a video the other day. Zig Ziglar.
Oh, Zig Ziglar, yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
He was from Dallas, I believe, and he did this. He told some great illustration, this great story. He goes, I call this from the notebook of life. And he has these, he takes these little stories, things that he comes across in life and writes them down so he can share them with the audience. And there was a guy who had recommended him for, a guy came and had been recommended for a job. And basically, here's what it is. He was like, in this job situation, he goes, I want to ask you something. And he goes, we're going to do a column. And he wrote down things in your life. Like he goes, are you a success or a failure? And it was all health, happiness, hope, money, and basically the way that the thing went was if you put something in the positive or the negative column, and he felt he's like about his boss, and his boss was like. He's like, no, he always has an ulcer. Okay, that's his health probably isn't good. That's going to be a negative. Does he have money? Well, yeah, he has money. Does he have friends? Not really. And that's going to be the negative. And he went down, and you realize, on the surface, you might think, oh, my boss is this rich guy that's doing great. But in the other column, you're like, he's not happy. His wife doesn't really, his kids don't. You know what I mean? It just went on and on. I'm like, wow. So basically, it goes back to that thing of counting your blessings and even being happy with the simplest. I mean, of course, you still want to make money, but just because someone is, we've seen big stars they're not very happy.
Yeah, well, I think it is a choice. And they always say that, and I think you do have to, talk yourself into being in a good mood a lot of times.
Yeah,
and
you're
also.
Right.
Thinking, hey, this is going to work out, as opposed to this isn't going to work out. And it was funny. I was listening to Dave Chappelle's latest thing. He's such a great comic, and he said, he goes, the one thing I can count on, and he doesn't brag. He's such a great, down to earth guy, but he did say, I've done comedy so long, because he started when he was really young, kind of like I did with radio, and he goes, that I think I'm pretty good at this. And he goes, so before a show, and he was kind of kidding, but he's not really. He said he'd be in the wings going, this is going to go well. And, I think that's a great outlook if you can pull it off.
The visualization.
Well, and also verbalization,
yes.
Saying that this is going to work.
You say it out loud, then
you're thinking it's going to work, and it has a better chance of working.
Yeah, it does, as opposed to going to the fearful place.
That's right, Ed.
oh, that is wild. But I remember like in this illustration that Zig Ziglar did at the very end, the guy that was he was like, they go, would you trade places with your boss? And he goes, now that I think about it, no way. No way would I change places with him. At first he goes, I would, but now I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it always looks greener on the other side, and you never know what the other person's going through.
Yeah.
And just because someone's got a lot of money or is...
Everybody loves you, Frazer. You know, that's one thing that, you know, anytime your name comes up, they're like, Frazer's the best. He's so nice. He's complimentary. He'll find one joke in your act and tell you how, you know, that he liked it, or that, you know what I mean? You're one of those guys, as opposed to the kind of comic you see and you're just, you don't really want to be around that person.
Well, I'm glad I've got everyone fooled. No, I don't know. With me, I just like people. I guess I'm a people guy.
And it's so nice you get people on the radio show when on KLOS 95.5. You give people a break all through the years. Even before I moved to LA, I lived in San Diego for a couple of years. I started my comedy in Fresno, then I moved to the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and then San Diego just a couple of years. And I would drive back and forth to LA. And I remember that I did your comedy and radio show at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah,
when you were on the radio.
That's right. I had a show out of Laugh Factory.
And I was a new comic, and you still let me on.
Well, I was a fan right away. I loved your stuff. It was very fresh, and you were. I hadn't seen anybody like you, and so I thought, oh, this guy's great. I try to be that way. I try to help people out, give them a boost, because people help me out. And you helped me. You got me into comedy and magic.
I did?
I don't know if you remember that.
That's cool. Maybe that's why they put us on stage together.
Well, I thought about that. It was kind of a full cycle thing, because I had never been to that club, and it was probably, 6 years ago, 7 years, whatever. And you said,
you're perfect for that.
We were talking on the phone, and I said, well, what are you up to tonight? And you go, I'm going down to Comedy and Magic. Have you ever played there? And I said, well, no, I don't think I haven't. And you said, well, they have this thing. It was the birthday thing. So come down with me. You can ride down with me, and I'll introduce you to the owners and stuff, and maybe you can get some time. And I remember I went down there, and I did 5 minutes, and it went pretty well. And
dude, it probably crushed.
You got me in there. So it was real cool, and then yeah. So it's. I really think you help other people, then you can. Then people will help you.
I remember when I would come up to from San Diego, do your comedy show, and but I couldn't. But the radio signal wouldn't reach San Diego, so what I'd have to do is call the Laugh Factory, and they would put me on hold, because at that time when the Laugh Factory put you on hold, they would play your radio show.
Oh right, yeah.
So they'd be like, "How can we help you?" I'm like, "Just put me on hold, please. I want to hear my own set."
See, I think that's how most of my listeners were hearing the show too. They'd have to call the Laugh Factory.
Man, this has been great. Frazer, where can we find you?
That's a good question. I can't even half the time. I don't know where I'm going to be.
He's online. Look him up on all the normal stuff.
I never go to any of those things. Never go to Facebook. Hate Facebook. I don't hate it, but I just never go there. Yeah. And then, but really,
the radio, right?
On the radio.
If you're in LA,
95.5 KLOS, or you can pick it up. We're on Sunday night, 11 p.m. till 3 a.m. And you can also get it on iHeartRadio if you get a chance. The other thing is always at the Laugh Factory on Friday nights. I'm always at the Improv in Hollywood on usually Saturday night, Ice House in Pasadena Thursday night, and Comedy Store on Monday night.
Wow, you're ever okay.
That's weird. And Bob's Big Boy now.
That schedule went by so quick. Is there like nights that you have off?
Rarely. Once in a while, I have a Tuesday.
And on a Tuesday, what do you do?
Well, I try to get.
Do you still go out?
I still try to go out.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
feels
like
good,
to,
huh?
Yeah, I don't like to stay home. I think that's, it's good to keep moving.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it's like, because it's easy to stay home like one night in a row, 2 nights. 3 nights.
Yeah, and I think you lose once you take a night off. Then I'll take another night. That's how I am.
Yeah,
I think I'm kind of naturally lazy, so I try to force myself not to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then you get a little momentum going, and then hopefully that erases the lazy part.
I have so much momentum with the podcast, and now I'm doing stuff on YouTube and Instagram. But really, like with YouTube, I'm learning how to edit, like with iMovie and stuff like that. It's like the best. Like,
well, the big thing for you is going to be this Thai restaurant thing. I'm telling you.
Yes.
It's going to be a new thing, and they're going to love it. It's going to get your fans out there face to face. It'll be cool.
That's great. Let's go inside and eat. What do you
Are
say?
we going to do that? Let's do
we'll
that.
Eat and write some jokes.
Enjoyed, that'll be great, and I really appreciate you having me on your podcast, man. It's the second time I've enjoyed it, and all the gang over at Evergreen Retirement Residence are listening to you on the Darren Carter podcast.
I thought you were going to end on a rap. Hey, I know David Allan Coe was a country singer, but it kind of sounded like a rap. Do you remember the lyrics to that?
The country DJs all think I'm a
Country DJs?
Country DJs all think I'm an outlaw. They'd never come to see me in this dive. Where bikers stare at cowboys who are looking at the hippies who are praying they'll get out of here alive. And the loudmouth in the corner's getting to me, talking about my earrings and my hair. I guess he never saw the signs that say I've been to prison. Someone better tell him before I knock him off his chair. And I can sing all them songs about Texas. And I still do all the sad ones that I know. People tell me I look like Merle Haggard.
We look like two drunks in a car.
I sound a lot like David Allan Coe. Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Thank you, Frazer.
Well, if I get into rap or country music, I'll let you know. All right, thanks, Darren.
That's awesome.
I'm out, man.
You're the man. Thank you. Oh, wow. That was great, man. Thank you.
Well, the country DJs all think I'm an outlaw.
Dude, I'm so glad you remembered that. How did you remember that?
I don't know.
We're gonna have you back on and do more stuff like that.
That's crazy. I gotta tell you.
This is like James Corden car karaoke, except we're doing a podcast.
Podcast karaoke.
All right, buddy.
Okay, man.
I'll see you.